Hey there, Mr. Burton here. Let me show you how I convert fractions to decimals. The problem reads, Bob, Tina, and Haley went running. Bob ran for 3/8 hours. Tina ran for 3 and 4/9 hours. And Haley ran for 4 and 19/20 hours. Write the number of hours each person spent running as a decimal. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and box in the question. That way I know exactly what it's asking me. It wants me to write the number of hours each person spent running as a decimal. Decimal being key. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take these three values and we're going to convert them to decimals. Let's do this. So, first, let's start off with Bob. We know that Bob ran for 3/8 hours. So, we know from our lesson that 3/8, if we want to convert it to a decimal, we need to say 3 divided by 8, which looks like this. Okay, now that we have it set up, let's go ahead and let's convert this to a decimal. So we look and we see, can 8 go into 3? No, it can't. So the first thing we need to do is add a decimal there, decimal here, and add a 0 there. Now we need to see if 8 can go into 30 and how many times. 8 can go into 30 and 8 can go into 38, 16, 24. Because the next number will be 32, and that'd be too much. So we know it can go in 3 times. So let's put the 3 there. Now what I like to do is 3, put a times there so I know I'm saying 3 times 8. And then I'm going to put the product there. So 3 times 8 equals 24. Now we're going to go ahead and subtract. Okay, now we're going to add the subtraction sign there. And we have 30 minus 24, which 30 minus 24, let's go ahead and borrow from 3, make that 2, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 2 minus 2 equals 0. Therefore, we're left with 6. And we keep going just like that. 8 can't go into 6, but 8 can go into 60. How many times? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56. So we know the next number would be 64. So that wouldn't go into 60. So we know it can go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So our next number up here would be 7. It would be 7 times 8, which would give us 56. Now we subtract 60 minus 56, and that gives us, borrow from there, it's 5, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Now we have 5 minus 5, which equals to 0. So there we have 4. Now we still have that 4. Let's go ahead and add a 0 because 8 can't go into 4, but it can go into 40. How many times? Let's check up here to see if we already wrote it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can go into 40 5 times perfectly. So let's add the 5 at the end. Now we have 5 times 8 equals 40. So now we're going to subtract 40 minus 40, 0 minus 0, 4 minus 4. We have no remainders. Therefore, 3 over 8 converted to a decimal is 0.375. And that is our answer for Bob. So Bob ran 0.375 hours. All right, so now that we know Bob's, we can go ahead and clear this area. Let's write this down first. Bob. Let's put our 0 there first. 0, 3, 7, 5. Okay, so Tina ran for 3 4/9 hours. So we know that 3 means 3 full hours. And 4/9 would be 4/9 of an hour. So what we want to do is we want to turn 3 4/9 into a decimal. What we need to do first is take the 3, separate it over here, add the decimal point. We know that we have 3 full hours. So when we convert it, we can just take the 3 hours and put it in front of the decimal. Now all we need to do is deal with 4/9. So we need to take 4 and divide it by 9, because we have the numerator divided by the denominator. All right, so now we're going to take 4 and divide it by 9. And since we've gone through it one time before, I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit faster for you. All right, cool. Let's do this. So 9 can't go into 4, so we're going to add the decimal and the 0. Be sure to add the decimal up top too. So 9 can go into 40. Let's see how many times. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. 45 is too much, so 36 would be 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 9 can go into 40 4 times. 4 times 9 would be 36, and we're left with the remainder of 4. Now 9 can't go into 4, but we're going to add a 0. Now we have 9 and we have 40 again. So we're going to see how many times 9 can go into 40. 9, 18, 27, 36. It can go in 4 times. So we have 4 times 9 equals 36. So 40 minus 36 again is 4. Now do you see a pattern forming? I sure do. It looks like we're going to have 40s each time. So when we recognize that pattern, what we can do is we go ahead and stop at the hundredths place, and we can put a line above that number. And what that lets us know is, that lets us know that that 4 is going to keep on repeating. So for this, we know that 4 divided by 9 is 0.44 repeated. And what we can do is we can take this decimal that we've just found, bring it over to the 3 hours that we had already, and we can say 3 hours and 44 hundredths repeating. So we know that Tina ran for 3 hours, 44 hundredths of an hour. All right, now that we have Tina, the last person is Hadley. All right, so we have Hadley's information here. Now, let's go ahead and let's turn this into a decimal. Now remember, we're starting off with a mixed fraction. So what we can do is, since we have a whole 4 hours, we can put that 4 in front of the decimal. And now we have 19 over 20 that we need to go ahead and convert into a decimal. So, converting 19 over 20, again, we are taking the numerator and we are going to divide it by the denominator. In this case, this will be 19 divided by 20. All right, let's get started. So, we have 19 here. We're going to divide this by 20. And so, how many times can 20 go into 19? 0 times, right? So let's add the decimal and the 0. Now let's see, how many times can 20 go into 190? Let's check. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180. And the next would be 200. And that's too much. So let's count how many that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. So we can go in 9 times. With our decimal here, our first number that we write will be 9. 9 times 20 is 180. Now we're left with 10. Now 20 can't go into 10, but if we add that 0 there, 20 can go into 100. Let's see how many times 20 can go into 100. Maybe we've already written it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 20 can go into 100 5 times. Let's write that down. 5 times 20 equals 100 even. 100 minus 100 equals 0. And so we know that 19 over 20 converted to a decimal is 0.95 or 95 hundredths. Let's write that down over here. And now we know that Hadley ran for 4 hours and 95 hundredths of an hour. Let's write that up here with everybody else's information. All right. And so let's check the question one more time to make sure that we answered it correctly. It says, write the number of hours each person spent running as a decimal. We've written the number that Bob spent, we've written the number that Tina spent, and we've written the number that Hadley spent. And so I believe we've solved the question. We're all done. Good job.